This episode of Inside Golf Podcast is brought to you by Inside Sports Network.
What's up, everybody? It's your boy, Boston Capital, Twiddle Steve on the Hold the Green podcast.
All right, we are live. Tap in, birdie.
All right, Carson Young is here.
I bet Ludwig at 28.
Let's go. I bet
You
him
do
at,
too?
I bet him at 25.
Low sevens. I think there's some guys in here we like.
Harris English at 7,300.
I love Brian Harmon at 3.5% this week.
Good evening, everybody, and happy Father's Day. It's your boy Capper with Twitterless Steve here for a U.S. Open recap and Travelers preview. Happy Father's Day, Steve. I know yours was a little wild, man, but I hope it was all right.
Yeah, it was. First of all, I want to call you out because you call me a hypocrite for all the times I go back to Patrick Cantlay.
Yes.
But you sent over several messages over the weekend about Mr. JJ Spaun, and you would legitimately quit this podcast if he won. And here you are, by the way. How is our audience supposed to take you seriously? Where is your credibility now, sir?
It was more about Burns than it was Spaun. Listen, I'll be honest. You know me, man. I'm pretty cynical. Like, I don't really give a shit about most of the golfers. Watching Spaun close this out made me so happy. Like, this is the stuff. You know how I get mad when like JT wins and then like the golf media just like ball washes them. Like, these are the guys who I love to see win. This is a 34-year-old grinder. He's won once on tour. He was like 200-1. He's got his daughters there. He's got his wife there. He had a bogey-free Thursday. Started 5 over. Bad luck, man. Hit the pin, kicked all the way back. Couldn't catch a fucking break to save his life. And it's like, oh man, like poor JJ. Like, I just remember thinking that a bunch of times on the front nine today. And to see him come through birdie 17 and 18, that fucking birdie on 18. Listen, and I know lots of people in our Discord, and Andy had Bobby Mack. Look, good call on that, 100-something to 1. But listen, with having no money on it, I can't think of a time I was more happy watching someone close a major down than just watching JJ Spaun do that. I was elated, like legitimately elated. Like, I came up out of my, like, jumped up out of my recliner when he sunk that putt.
Yep. What's the better underdog story at a recent major? JJ Spaun winning the U.S. Open or Michael Block qualifying for Valhalla and getting up and down from 18? One of the best up and downs in history.
JJ all day. And it was so funny. So like, as a dad, so you got 2 little ones too, so it's so funny. Like the wife came out early and the kids were there, and Vic still had to putt, and he was going, you gotta sure she still has to putt, like, and like all the emotions going through JJ Spaun's head, and he still has to, like, hey baby, you gotta be quiet for a second, he's still gonna putt. Like, I don't know, man, it was all the feels. Like, I was super happy for JJ, like legit. Like, yeah, I can't think of another time where I didn't have money on the line where I was happier for the winner, like super happy.
Yeah. So when watching Spaun play today and have that back nine that he did, I'll save like a different take with that when we go to like kind of like our takeaways from the US Open, or like our 3 topics that we want to bring to the show. But they were trying to make the point about how, JJ has had trouble closing tournaments out. And we've seen it a bunch of times this year, most notably players when he came back and just was awful on Monday, which I like that he referenced that at the end when they're interviewing him, where, he just came out of the break, at the players and didn't show well. He actually used that as energy to kind of reset himself today, I like that little nugget there. But also at the Sony Open, where he completely imploded on the back nine as well. And it was nice to see that come full circle today, because those thoughts were absolutely in my head on 17 and 18.
Oh yeah,
on 18 drives. Yep.
On 18, I was talking to my wife, and I was like, that's a very fucking long putt. I was like, he'll be lucky if he sticks this thing to 4 feet, and then he's got 4 feet to close a major. And I was like, that's not easy. He's going to be shaking over this putt, and then he buries it. Like, unbelievable.
Well, it's not even that. It was the tee shots. I was thinking about it. because as we saw this week, if you were in the rough or in a bunker, you were basically dead. Which I want to talk about that in a little bit. But he hit 2 under the gun, incredible tee shots.
Amazing. Yep. Dude, that shot on 17 was Morikawa-esque.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And actually, when the tee shot on 18, it reminded me, obviously, it went like probably 50 yards shorter than Dustin Johnson. But Dustin Johnson, like, he had it in the bag at that point, but he hit an absolute missile power fade off the tee. And as soon as JJ hit that, I was just reminded of that shot. Just wow, like, okay, this is just a money tee shot. Go into your patented left to right shot, which, by the way, that played out again. Guys who fade the ball, another winner at Oakmont. Congratulations to JJ for that. But it was nice seeing him get over a lot of the stigma that people had described from him. And, you know, it's okay that we have a non-traditional, non-boys club, as you call them.
Absolutely.
Yeah, especially a guy like JJ Spaun, who was a journeyman, who has had
grinder, man.
Yeah, he's had to work his ass off. He doesn't have the God-given talent of just elite length and TrackMan golf. He has refined his game. He has grinded on the PGA Tour. I also love the fact that I kind of wish we had better reporting. But one of the things about JJ Spaun that I pointed out in our previous show, I mentioned him and had zero money on him, by the way, was how bad he was around the green. And then they said on the 18th hole, oh, he got a new short game coach and he just completely changed his technique and he was great around the green.
Perfect. And did you see the short games coach reaction? He was like, let's fucking go, going nuts, like grabbing his kid. I'm telling you, I don't know, maybe it's Father's Day, like an emotional day, but like just super, super happy for JJ.
Oh, for sure. That's a win for all the girl dads out there. You're a girl dad. I'm a girl dad. Just that was great. Also, kudos for JJ having the wherewithal when he flipped the putter to throw it in the rough instead of throw it on the putting surface so he wouldn't damage the green at that point.
That's right.
Good job by him with that. No, it was a great reaction. Great closeout as well. We're always going to remember that bomb putt at the end there. And amazing. Like I said, it's okay if we get a guy like JJ Spaun win a major championship.
That's who I want to win.
Yeah. Well, especially because it was looking like for a couple hours there. And this is one thing I really kind of didn't like about Oakmont. Just a lot of bad golf. And I know people like that type of golf that they were watching. But to me, it wasn't all that entertaining to just see just bad shot after bad shot, especially on the back nine, where I want to see somebody actually take it at the championship. And for a while there, nobody was doing it. And then finally, in the last 45 minutes, you had 2 guys doing it. You had Bobby Mack, who played really good down the stretch. Also hit a great tee shot in 17. And then you finally had JJ Spaun take the tournament. That's what I wanted to see. I wanted somebody to take this tournament, and he finally did it. That's why it was such a great ending to me. And it just capped off by that bomb putt. Congratulations to him. Worthy champion. He actually won it instead of having it. It's so much better that he actually went out and won it instead of having 100%. Somebody just give it to him.
100%. And that's what I was afraid was going to happen. Just like you, like when I was watching this, I was like, this is just going to be like a war of attrition, like Burns or Scott, and it's just going to be who doesn't actually go take it. Both of these guys are shooting 6 and 7 over, and somehow one of these assholes is going to win because nobody wants to win it. And you're right. And then JJ went out and took it. Bobby Mack posted a number. Like, these fucking announcers were like, Jon Rahm sitting at +4 in the clubhouse, and look, Scotty still got a chance. Like, no, but like the coverage was kind of annoying. It annoyed me a little bit, but yeah, you really couldn't ask for a better ending. Like, it was great. It was really good.
Yeah. Congratulations to JJ Spaun. I know it doesn't seem like it's a worthy champion, but
he absolutely is a worthy champion.
Played great all week.
100% a worthy champion.
And he's actually was the only one other than Bobby Mack on the back nine that actually took the bull by the horns.
Yep.
And won it. And that's
look, he's had a good year. He's had a good year too. So he's absolutely a worthy champion. He almost won the Players and got bested by one of the best golfers in the world with Rory. And now, he was able to come out and he didn't, like you said, he went out and took it. He birdied 17 and 18. Like, holy shit. Like, amazing on a golf course like this and how it played all week. And like you said, like, look, obviously being on the rough, you were fucking dead 90% of the time, which was fine. Like, look, miss the fairway, be penalized, which is great. Man, some of the breaks poor Adam Scott got, because I was rooting for Adam Scott as an old guy at the beginning of the day. I wanted Adam Scott to win. Man, that motherfucker got the worst lies every time. It was like he might be all right. They went over, oh no, this is the worst lie I've seen all week. It's like, oh.
Yeah, so that's the second time we've had sentimental old guy who's going for his second like elusive major.
Needed
and
that
doesn't
major,
get
too.
it.
I know.
Yeah,
it was
I
kind
know
of it was a little heartbreaking.
It was, and you could see it on his face coming down 18 too. He knew he let that get away. And I mean, look, like that just kind of sums up Adam Scott though, the last like decade. You know, we've had the joke of like death, like if your life depended on Adam Scott hitting up, making a 6-foot putt, you're already dead. And yeah, like every time he had one of these like 10, 15, 17 footers, you just knew that it was just going to miss low and it had no shot. And that just kind of Adam Scott in a nutshell. But that would have been, that was like, you're right. That was the guy I was rooting for at the beginning of the day. Yeah. And he also like Adam Scott also thinks about his legacy, and they asked him if he was a Hall of Fame golfer, and he said no.
He needs another major.
I need that second major, and he's not going to get many more chances. But goddamn, the man is handsome though, and he has that going for him.
That outfit was bad today though. I don't like.
Well, he's always been a bad dresser. I mean the full Tanimal suit that he always has coming out.
That's fair.
No, that's not great.
What'd you think of Burns's hissy fit?
So here's
about
the
not
thing.
getting not getting the drop.
Yeah. So here's the thing. As a girl dad and two girls under the age of 5, obviously because of the rain delay, you had bedtime procedures coming in. So I actually missed what happened. Fill me in. What happened that got you all hot and bothered about Mr. Sam Burns?
So now, everybody who's listening to this, if you're new, I don't like Sam Burns. So mine is definitely a bias take. So he's on like a low side, like right next to the first cut of rough, and it's definitely a low level, right? So he's trying to get like a water ruling, like a standing water. And when he's hitting the club, there's clearly a shit ton of water every time he's doing it. But when he stands there, the water doesn't rise to his shoes. And the first judge was like, no. Like, you're good. Like, you got to hit it. And he was like, fine, I want another ruling. I want someone over here to tell me. I want to speak to your manager. And the next guy came over and was like, yeah, no, you got to hit it. And of course, it's in his brain. You know he's going to fucking fuck this shot up because he got told no twice. What does he do? Fucks the shot up. All because he wanted a drop, because look, everywhere was wet, man. All these guys were playing for the same thing. Where he was hitting from was no different from anybody else. I saw it in the Discord. It's tough hitting from a puddle. My fucking dick. It wasn't a fucking puddle. It was just wet like everywhere else on the fucking fairway. He was trying to get an advantage and he didn't. And then he mentally melted down because Sam Burns is a mental fucking midget. Maybe pray harder on Wednesday or your next Bible study that the rain doesn't sit on you. I was so happy when I knew he was going to fuck that shot up. I was so happy. So
All right. Well, I mean, typically, if it was any other player, I would believe you on this take. But because it's Sam Burns and your incredible biases, I'm probably going to just naturally side with Sam Burns at this.
No, I'm telling you,
water that he
you would add. No. There was no casual water. I swear to God, there was none. It wasn't like. There was no casual water. Like, I guess if you like bounced on it or whatever, you get some water to rise up, but he didn't bounce on it. And when you stand there, the water did not rise up. Hit your shot. Be a fucking man. Stop being a pussy. Be a father figure for Bear, Sam, and be a man and hit the shot instead of whining and crying and asking for multiple rulings. And then when it doesn't go your way, completely melted down, which was that's exactly who Sam Burns is. And all these country club cocksuckers who any type of adversity hits them in the face, they don't know what to do. They have no idea. Like, I can't believe it didn't go my way. And then he shoots it over, and then he flubs it out of the fucking rough. It was chef's kiss. So happy for me. I was so happy. My wife is like, you're a psychopath. I was so happy, just laughing the entire time.
Okay. All right. Couple of quick hitters on some players that contended before we get to our takes for our biggest takeaways for the tournament. Nice to see your boy Terrell Hatton finally contended.
Oh, finally, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, he's had top 10s on his resume, but they were just
Not
the
real.
hollowest,
Not
meaningless top 10s. Like he had a top 10, I think, at Baltusrol that he was
Did he
never
get one
in.
And he got one in the Masters, didn't he? Top 10 in the Masters.
Yeah, he's got top 10, I think, in the Masters that he was never in it. He top 10 at Royal Troon in 2016, where he lost by 2 touchdowns. Meaningless at that point.
Yeah, exactly.
But it was nice actually seeing him mix in for the win. And
he had
look, I mean,
many good looks too. So many good looks.
He did.
He was the only one to get it on that back shelf. And he missed that fucking 10-footer. And I was like, oh, that's it.
Yeah. But listen, like besides his antics, he's an incredible player. And we've been waiting for him to just get in the mix to actually win on Sunday, like not on Thursday, Friday, or like a backdoor respectable top 15, top 12, like actually legitimately had a shot. And he was because it was a 5-way tie for the lead at like +1, late down the back 9. Love seeing that from him. Missed opportunity for Hovland as well. Just couldn't quite get there. Encouraging though. Yeah, you know what? It's encouraging. A couple just stupid mistakes that he made that cost him during this tournament, but encouraging that's there. And then I know that I'm very happy for JJ Spaun, but I am replaying I'm going to guess 18 putts under 10 feet that Jon Rahm missed across Thursday.
Oh my God. Sunday. You and me both, brother. Oh my God.
That's brutal.
How many, I bet you we do. Hey, Saul, do me a favor. If you're listening, put it in the chat, or not the chat, but in Discord. How many under 10-foot putts? Because he did it earlier on like Thursday, Friday. Jon Rahm missed so many putts all week. It was insane.
It was unbelievable.
Insane.
Unbelievable the amount of putts he missed. Somehow they have him gaining putting for the tournament.
No fucking shot.
I call shenanigans on that.
No. This is why
he must have had. Yeah, he must have had a great weekend. Yeah, he had a good putting day today, where he gained 2 strokes. But like on Friday, he lost 2.6 because he missed so many. So Jon Rahm gained 3 strokes on approach on Friday and lost 2.6 putting. Brutal. Yeah, that was brutal. That was
good
too
for
bad.
Portrush, though. Good for Port.
Yeah,
good for
you know
Portrush.
what? I'll probably be going back to him at Portrush, for sure.
Me too.
Yep. All right. So what are some big takeaways you have? Like just high level takeaways for the US Open.
JT is a look at me asshole.
Okay. Did you plan any of these, or are you just coming off your top of your head?
No, we're gonna go off the cuff.
Okay.
All
right.
Who hangs around after missing the cut? Oh, and then you're not even on Twitter. So like 2 hours ago, he's like, I don't know. This golf course seems to be getting away from him. And everybody's like, well, good thing you didn't make the weekend, you asshole. Like, fuck off. Nobody cares about your opinion. Why are you? I'm grinding out on the course. You know who the winner was? Hopefully he was still on the course today, so his kid didn't have to be around JT. That was the absolute best Father's Day present for his child, without having to be around that asshole, JT. What a prick. Like, what a look at me. I missed the cut, but I'm still grinding. I fucking hate him.
Okay. I mean, look, you've heard stories of guys that miss the cut, the Masters, hang around Augusta National for the rest of the weekend.
Augusta.
That's the thing. That's Augusta. You may never go back, and you have been there. It's a special place. Enjoy it as much as you can at that point. Squeeze the lemon for every ounce of juice that you have if you ever do that. That's fine. Well, that was pretty pathetic that he's so hanging around the range. Yeah.
And then I saw the last person Sam Burns talked to before going out on a round today was fucking JT. I was like, you got the bad juju on you.
Okay. All right. So my first takeaway, and actually I want to ask you first.
Okay.
Did you like Oakmont this week?
I did.
Okay. Why'd you like Oakmont?
So I thought it was, I guess I thought it was unfair at times, but for the most part, it was fair. Like it was meant to be mean. It was meant to be this style of golf. And if you miss the fairway, you're fucked. If you end up in one of the ravines, you're dead. Like that's just the way it goes. be accurate and you will be fine. Like, I didn't think they lost the golf course. Like, it did suck with the rain or whatever, but look, everybody played under the same conditions. I thought it was a good test of golf. I really did.
Okay. Yeah. So I don't think it was unfair either, because literally Oakmont kind of shows you exactly what you need to do. It's hit it
Fairway,
straight.
green.
Don't miss. If you hit in the rough, you're dead. If you hit in one of the fairway bunkers, you're probably dead because you can't get over the lip. If you miss a green because of how crazy undulated and how small some of the targets are, like, I know we criticize NBC, but what I did love was how they brought out the heat map of the greens to show the pin positions.
Oh, I did. I like that. I did like
and
that.
I love that they busted it out after Rory criticized 13 about having no pin positions. And then Gary Koch goes on here. He's like, well, you can put it here. You can put it here, put it here. I'm like, oh, thank you, NBC. Thank you for actually doing that.
Yep.
So I don't think it was unfair because it showed you exactly what you needed not to do. Here's my problem with the setup this week.
Okay.
One is just a very kind of small nit that I hope they fix next time. The fairway on 12, the par 5, is an abomination with how far these guys hit it now, because everything, did you notice everything rolls to the right side there?
Yeah, that's fair.
They got to fix that in 8 years. Like they got to either move a tee box or they got to get rid of that slope there, because that was just kind of dumb at that point, where like, even if you started on the extreme left side of the fairway, everything just rolled there. Like it reminded me of Tenacapalua, where just everything funnels to the left side there.
Yeah.
And like then you end up having like all these divots. Like for God's sakes, I can't remember so many guys hitting in divots like this week.
Oh
like,
yeah,
there were so many.
There was a lot.
So that's one small nit. But there came a point today where I just got tired of the hack out from the rough, and where it just became kind of predetermined of, it's not necessarily, I think, like that's unfair. My problem with it was it just seemed just predetermined, like, oh, well, this is just going to be hack out from the rough to wedge shot. And that's it. Like, and to me, like, as a viewer of this product, like, it kind of got very tiring seeing that for 4 straight days, where as opposed to, people didn't like this at Pinehurst, where if you hit it in the waist areas, there was a question of, what's this going to be? Is this going to be perfect and he's going to be fine? Right. Or is it going to be, you're in like the weeds, you're screwed? And I like that tension and drama of it, instead of just, this is buried in the rough, you're dead, you're screwed. It's predetermined at that point.
There were some lies today, like when you go look, you're like, okay, they look all right. Like, not if you hit it in like the fast.
Like for the most part, though, like guys hit it in the rough, it's hack out city. Like the bunkers, I have absolutely no problem with, because those are true. Those are hazards. It's supposed to be penal. And I like that element that they were like bunkers that you see like in the Open Championship, where it's very difficult to get out. They have steep.
I loved
that. I was
gonna say, I love that they hit and they don't just automatically roll to the bottom where it's a nice, easy shot out. No. If you hit it into the face, stays in the face.
Yeah.
Like,
well, that's also, as you're watching it, that's some sort of tension and drama of like, okay, is he going to be able to actually get out? Because you saw plenty of guys hit the face. Like that adds to it. I just felt like after 4 days, I got tired of just, oh, this is just hack out to the fairway. And then
that's fair.
Seeing that. Like, it just felt very repetitive. What I would like them to do for the next tournament is maybe bring back what the graduated rough from 16, where if it was just off the fairway, it was about like 3.5, 4 inches, where maybe it's more of a question at that point of, do you have a good lie? Do you not have a good lie? Where there's maybe a little more variability of what that is. And then you have like the 5.5 stuff like way off there. As opposed to just, if it rolls through the first cut of rough, it's immediately in 5 inches of rough at that point. And to me, it just got kind of repetitive and tiring after a little bit. And look, if you like that this week, I'm not saying you're wrong. Like, this isn't me, like, this isn't a right or wrong thing. This is like me saying, I just don't like broccoli at this point. Like, that's my take on this.
I got you.
And if you like broccoli, I'm not going to criticize you. It just, I just got tired of that. And I think it got to that point where like, I just saw so much bad golf down like where it just got like, okay, like if I was watching on DVR, like there was a stretch from like maybe 2 to like 3 o'clock today
DVR
where I maybe would have went like, okay, let's put on 1.5 speed and just kind of get through all of this, because it was getting kind of tiring at that point. And let's get to like the end where there's maybe like some drama.
Okay.
But yeah, that's kind of my big Oakmont takeaway. Thankfully, though, next year at Shinnecock, hopefully we get some firm conditions where now it's tight lies around the green, and you're going to see more of like what you saw at like Pinehurst last year, where once the ball starts moving and gets going the wrong way and starts funneling down the slopes, like, where is this going to go? I personally like seeing that suspense and drama of when the ball is just going, it's out of control, versus just, it just bounds in the rough and stops. And that's really about it. And you see that over and over. So,
well, listen, I would much rather see that than the typical minus 20 weeks where it's like, okay, drive, doesn't matter, you're not in trouble, you can still wedge it into the green, here's a putt. Like,
oh, for sure.
This is maybe not to this extreme, but if there was some balance, right, between that and your typical PGA weekly birdie fest, fine. But yeah, no, I get what you're saying.
Yeah, like it's to me, it's good in small doses. And I got
a
little bit too much of it this week, where I'm just like, okay, I'm kind of done with this. Okay. All right. Whatever I got 2 other takeaways, but do you have anything else, or we just keep rolling?
I would just say, like, the same thing we talk about every week. Like, these guys who are like preordained to be like the best golfers, they're not. Like Morikawa, Cantlay, this group of golfers that we constantly get between 80 to 30 to 1 are just fucking losers. They are not good. Like, they shouldn't be priced where they're at. Like, I am so happy somebody like JJ Spaun won versus these fucking guys. And they go out, and anytime they see any semblance of toughness, they just disappear. They melt. They fucking melt. And it sucks for USA Golf. And I know we've talked about like the Ryder Cup and things like that. Like, I really feel like this is going to have an effect on it. Like, you watch some of these guys on the Euro Tour, or go play for Team Europe rather, they have way more balls than the guys we have. And I don't think it's particularly close. I don't. It's just amazing to me that these guys who are so naturally talented, the first time anything doesn't go their way, they completely fucking melt. Like, they all need a better sports psychologist, because it's almost embarrassing with how talented these guys are and how they do not perform in these situations. It's insane.
Yeah, I mean, I won't defend my boyfriend here. Cantlay was completely, absolutely gutless. Cherry on top of the shit Sunday by him missing a 5-footer on 18 to miss the cut. That was great. Morikawa, like a hollow, forgetful T23 on the golf course.
He shot like +8 today. I used him in my one and done. So here's a nice 11 spot.
He shot 4 over. You think about a golf course where obviously very penal to miss fairways, favors a left to right shot, and yeah, very forgetful golf today.
Nothing.
Here's the thing though, you're going to go to TBC Mickey Mouse next week, and all those guys like GT and Cantlay and Morikawa, well, maybe not Morikawa, because for whatever reason he hasn't been all that good at this golf course, but
that's why I actually
guys
felt
like that
good using him this week.
Yeah, but like guys like that though, like we'll see a hard regression towards those types, I think, this week. Although you make a good point though. This is actually my third point. You brought up Europe at the Ryder Cup. Like, are we so sure about the state of that team right now? Because you have Rory being a complete mess. I was defending Rory for a little bit. He's a fucking mess. He's a mess right now. And I mean, look, he finished T19 somehow this week.
He shot like a 66 today, something like that.
No, he shot 2 over today to finish T19. Or no, I'm sorry. That was in round 2. He shot 3 under today early.
Okay. So 66.
But like him going to the podium yesterday and just saying, like,
such a joke.
like, you know what? I prefer you to just avoid the media. If you're gonna say that at that point, just avoid the media at that point. Just keep doing that. I don't know what's going on with him. Like, I don't understand why he's just being kind of a prick lately. And
So I guess
it is what it is.
it might have been Powers who put it on Twitter today. Like, listen, I get like you hit your grand slam, right? You got your giant monkey off the back, but now you're one major away from this icon. You're two majors away from this icon. You can't get up for that. Like, man, like he ain't Tom Brady. He ain't Michael Jordan. You know what I mean? Like, he's not Tiger Woods. He's not a guy who is relentlessly chasing history and wanting to supplant himself as one of the best, if not the best, golfers of all time, right? Like, he's just not built that way. And listen, that's fine. Like, not everybody can be built that way. That's why there's Brady's. That's why there's Jordans. That's why there's Tigers, right? Yeah, it's just it is. I think it was Powers. It was somebody who put it that way, but that made all the sense in the world to me. I was like, man, yeah, why can't he get up? He's got one more major. He clip off another major. He's playing great golf. Now he's going to be tied with him. And then two more. He's going to be tied with this guy. Like, yeah, like it's just strange to me. Very strange.
Okay. Yeah, it's not just him that's kind of not playing great right now. Ludwig is an unmitigated disaster right now.
Yeah.
He was terrible. He was awful this week.
Yeah.
Fleetwood wasn't good either. Like,
Fleetwood always stinks. He stinks.
Yeah, but he's a key cog for Europe though. And there's question marks around a lot of guys right now. And I know we trashed this US team, but you know what? Look, like, maybe it's a good thing we're getting rid of like the Finaus and hopefully the Cantlays, like, give you the JJ Spaun. For God's sake.
Spaun's almost a lock now, right? Isn't he a lock now, basically, with points?
Yeah, he's gonna get the Brian Harmon treatment. He's definitely gonna be on the team. But like, even like we rip on him, but like, look, at least Ben Griffin hits it far, and he's showing a little bit. And I don't know, like, maybe it's okay to get some new blood on this team a little bit.
Absolutely, it's good to get new blood on this team.
All right. So my third point though is we were texting back and forth on Thursday and Friday, and eventually he disappointed you though, but it was nice to see Brooks turn back the clock a little bit.
It was
23 holes. Yeah, I mean, I gave him absolutely zero shot at the beginning of the tournament. Said he basically is cooked, and for him to come out and play really solid, good golf, like vintage Brooks, vintage, hitting everything pin high, nice power fade, hearing his quotes about how he's motivated and just need to get yelled at. It was good to see it. And then he turned into a pumpkin again because
I know.
It's probably
there might be one more in him.
Maybe.
I think there might be one more in him. I think that's
maybe
max one more.
Maybe. I would like to see it, but it was nice to see that it's still kind of in there. And then it went away, and that was disappointing. But I was happy to see a little bit of that. So, all right. Anything else?
No, listen, I think that was a great U.S. Open. Happy to see it. Like I said, lots of golfers showed us who they are in the face of adversity, and it was nice to see a grinder like JJ actually get it done, close the door. The stress on his face, like even walking up to that eagle putt when he exhaled, I was like, oh my god, he's so stressed out. I was like, come on, man, like come on, like I thought it was a great tournament overall. I just thought it was great.
Yep. Yeah. Great tournament overall. Not a good betting week for me at all.
No, me either. Me either.
No, it's just this is not a Vic Lab or anything though. I'm trying to keep, because listen, we all go through it. We all go through slumps. I've been in a month-long slump, but look, I mean, I like JJ Spaun this week. Didn't bet him. I like Ben Griffin a couple of weeks ago. Didn't bet him. I said Scotty was going to win the tournament. Didn't bet him. So trying to keep my head up. But look, it's a struggle bus over here. Maybe me admitting it would kind of free me up a little bit. But that's just what happens. If you're in a slump, gambling is what it is. Just keep your head up. Trying to look at maybe what you're doing right instead of what you're doing wrong.
Whatever you do, don't press.
No, don't press. But you know what, though? Good week for ISN overall. Some other members. Rishi loved Adam Scott this week. Great call by him. Andy loved Bobby Mack. Almost got it done 110-1. A lot of winning tickets that were posted in Discord. So definitely become an insider today. Sign up at InsideSportsNetwork.com. We got weekly, monthly, and annual plans. Especially if you play DFS, Andy's ownership is hard to beat with the rest of the market, and we got a lot of great content. So definitely come over and begin Insider today. You won't regret it.
Yep. I don't even have to retire from DFS because I did get 3 6 of 6s through. And I was able to,
congratulations.
Yeah. Yeah. So I actually made money this week. When on Friday, I thought I was completely stone dead. I was like, that's it. I'm just fucking done with DFS forever. I was like, oh, wait, no, my bankroll's still there. Yay.
Nope. There you go. All right. Let's move on to Travelers.
Yeah, let's do it, I guess.
All right. So, full confession, was a very tiring weekend for me. I actually just finished this PowerPoint about 10 minutes before.
What did you call it, Steve? You old prick? What did you call it?
I know. I count it a PowerPoint. Sorry about that. This is going to be a very short preview. Look, it's Father's Day. We had a jam-packed weekend.
Yeah.
And honestly,
everybody knows
on this turn. Yeah, it's the handicap on this term is pretty easy.
Yeah.
Andy is going to have a podcast. And honestly, also too, by the way, you know who else is not ready for this tournament? The GCS AA, because they haven't even put out their tournament fact sheet. It seems like this is just, it just seems like this is just hangover city at this point. What do you think about the Travelers in a nutshell? Do you like this tournament? Do you like this golf course or no?
So I mean, I guess I like it because it's like the only like true like Northeast one we get, right? Like,
yep,
it's close to Mass. You do DPC, Boston's gone, but yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's fine. It is what it is. It does not need to be a signature event. It does not need right after the US Open. Like, it's just silly. Like, we're gonna have 70 guys out here, 20 under, 18 under, like
pretty much. Yeah,
whatever.
Yeah, I don't understand.
Nonplussed. How's that? Nonplussed.
Okay. All right. I'm going to make this take. I understand why it's a signature event because the fans are really good.
The fans are great, dude. They advertise it on Boston Sports Radio. They advertise it like on lots of places, and people do come up for it. And I guess it's because like it's a start. Like the Northeast loves fucking golf, and there's nowhere near as many tournaments as there needs to be in the Northeast.
Yeah. No, I understand because the fan base is great. 18 is a really good closing hole. I mean, like architecturally, no, but from the standpoint of just you have just masses of people on the hill there congregating. You've had a lot of great moments on 18, like Jordan Spieth getting up and down from the bunker in 2017 to win it. It's
hometown event. Even
it's
from 3 states over hometown.
Yeah,
event.
But like it's kind of like with the Phoenix Open that I feel like this has enough of its own identity, right? Where you don't need to make it a signature event. The fields were always fine because Travelers would kind of incentivize a lot of these top players to come. So it would already naturally have good fields. And like, we don't need signature events right after majors. Like, I feel like it's a net negative.
I'll take, we don't need signature events at all. I hate signature events. They suck.
Yeah. In hindsight, it's not good.
No, it's fucking terrible. I don't like any, there's not been a signature event that I'm like super excited for, or that it paid me off. Do you know what I mean? Like paid me off for like a great tournament. Like, okay, great.
No, it's to me, it's it's the big three. It's Riviera, Bay Hill, and Memorial. Those are really the only ones that like kind of really get me very excited. Like Harbor Town,
but they get me excited regardless, right? They don't need to be a signature event. I'd be excited about those immaterial to that being a signature event, which is my whole point. Like, I hate these fucking things.
Yeah, they really need to rotate these things around. Like me personally, I would rather the Rocket Mortgage next week be signature because
absolutely.
It's because listen, say what you want about the golf course. Fans of Detroit are pretty passionate fans, and I'd rather I want to see a good group of golfers there. I want to see a good group of golfers play the John Deere a couple weeks.
Yep. Yes, exactly.
Rotate it around. That's what they need to do. And it's gotten stale at this point. But this is the Travelers Championship. This is the 2025 preview. So a little history and backstory about this place. So this has been the Greater Hartford Open for, since the 50s. And eventually, though, the TPC ended up buying, I think it was called the Edgewood Country Club, and they renovated it. And they brought in Pete Dye to build it. And this is actually what it looked like way back in the day. Like just kind of just your standard, golf course. It looks pretty much nothing or, it looks kind of similar to what we see today. But you're going to hear a lot of people say, well, this is a Pete Dye golf course. And that's true. He originally built it. But what ended up happening was, excuse me, in 1989, his protege, Bobby Weed, who is actually, he built TPC Summerlin, the Grove 23. Summerlin, but he's adopted a lot of Pete Dye principles because he worked under him. What ended up happening was they ended up buying or acquiring a large tract of land down closer to the Connecticut River near the railroad. And that's how they ended up building and completing the rest of this golf course. So all of these holes, almost the entire back nine is Bobby Weed. It's not Pete Dye. And actually most of the old golf course is now just housing development.
Houses.
Yeah. I mean, that's really that was, I think, one of the bigger motivations of doing the redesign was we want to sell some real estate. Yep. Including the law offices of Amy J. Horowitz right here. I don't know. It's apparently it's notable on Google Earth that apparently she has a very good law office right off of the first fairway.
No free ads. No free ads.
Yeah.
Amy, you gotta hit us up now. You gotta pay us some money.
Yep. So, but look, like it's we'll get the GCSAA report. This is last year's short golf course, 6,800 yards, par 70, small greens, 5,000 square feet in area. Like I just mentioned, after it was acquired by the TPC network, it was originally designed by Pete Dye, but they underwent a major renovation in 1989 to basically redo the entire back nine, which, there's some exciting holes down the stretch. Like you got the drivable par 4 15th, which I wish they would shave down the rough to make more balls fall into the water. Say la vie. You got the long par 3 over water 16th, 17 kind of reminds me of 16 at PJ National, where you got water all the way down the right side, and then you got a forced carry over water. On that par 4, and then 18, kind of a forgettable hole, just I think in general, but you have the large amphitheater setting of behind the green there, also very accessible to protesters who want to run down from the hill and put paint bombs on the green, to your chagrin. But it's I think got a decent closing finish as far as like the ability of.
I wish they'd pull that shit in like Florida or Texas or some random like super red state where like they would actually be punished. I'm sure they were like. Makes me so mad.
Okay, I'm glad that's what makes you mad. So,
it makes me mad that they ruined my fucking Tom Kim outright bet.
Yeah. As far as agronomy goes, this is another bent POA golf course. We just saw bent POA at TPC Toronto a couple of weeks ago. I think the difference with this one, though, is this one I think is mostly bent. It seems like these greens are a little easier to putt on. That usually is more indicative of less POA in the green and more bent grass, and a little more consistent, as opposed to what we saw at TPC Toronto, where a little more POA in the green, more inconsistent. Rocket Mortgage at Detroit Golf Club, also a bent POA, but it's more on the POA side. That's a little more difficult to putt on. This one seems like it's a little more bent. So bent POA greens. The rough is 4+ inches of Kentucky bluegrass and fescue. We'll get to some of the changes they made last year to the tournament to try and make quote unquote accuracy matter. Growing out the rough seems like something they wanted to do to try and maybe curb a growing trend that we saw in 2023 that we'll get to in a little bit. So let's go over the average scoring, because you kind of see through the years a big change in the difficulty of this golf course. So in 2021, the average score was only a quarter stroke under par. Now, it wasn't as good of a field, and I think they had some more firmer conditions that year playing its favor. But in 2 years' time after that, the average score in 2023 was -1.8. And a big reason for that is guys just kind of decided that they were going to start hitting driver everywhere.
Everywhere. Yeah.
Everywhere at the golf course. And fairways are, relatively generous there. The rough wasn't quite as high. And when you get a 6,800 yard golf course and guys that can blast it 310, 320, suddenly they just have a bunch of wedges in their hands, and it made scoring kind of easier. They basically broke the golf course a little bit. So they ended up making some changes. This is just a smattering of examples. First of all, Google Earth doesn't have the updated photography of the golf course like Oakmont did, but just high level, this is just only a couple examples. They mostly narrowed a lot of fairways. Like on hole number 1, they narrowed it about 10 yards. They narrowed the par 5, 6 hole as well, add a couple mounds and make it supposedly a little more penal to miss a fairway. Number 9, actually something that seemed like it worked. So, number 9, the big dogleg, the guys would just bomb it over and they would have 50 yards in.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, they shifted the tee box right which is closer to the tree line to prevent you from going way up top. Seemed like that worked. Making that adjustment, guys were having a little more trouble getting it over the tree line. So at least that was good. But most of the changes they made was just narrowing fairways, thicker rough. I think on one of the holes, they actually they shortened the fairway to only 300 yards. So they took driver out of the guy's hand. Just adjustments to try and make quote unquote accuracy matter and maybe make it a little more tougher. Well, you get a signature field last year, a much better field, and the average score ends up jumping again to minus 2.4. So again, stronger field, but when you adjust it for just PGA Tour average, it was still easier than the previous year.
Minus 0.3, unreal.
Yeah. So congratulations to all these adjustments that they made to TPC River Highlands. Basically didn't do jack shit. What it did do though was, we'll get to that in a little bit with the driving stats, but just in general, just what is difficult there versus other places. Still at least a little more difficult than average than the PGA Tour golf course as far as the ability to gain strokes off the tee. It's more of a function that it still is a golf course where you're, for the most part, the field isn't hitting driver everywhere. So where you usually see when you guys are clubbing down at these golf courses, it's hard to separate yourself. So it's not necessarily that it's difficult. It's just as hard to separate yourself for the most part. That's why you kind of see it's a little more tougher than average, but don't let that kid you. It's not really like it's very the task is extremely difficult like you saw this week. Right. What is pretty easy though, and we've seen it the last couple of years, extremely easy approach shots. We'll get to it, but it's a high volume of short shots.
Yeah,
shots over 175.
It's a wedge fest.
Yeah, pretty much. And actually the last 3 years, the green and regulation rate, despite being very small greens, has been 70+%. Not great. Around the green, that seems like where it is a little more difficult for everybody. I'm trying to figure out exactly why that is. It's one of the more difficult places to get up and down from the fairway, the rough, and bunkers. I know specifically there's a couple bunkers that are really tricky. The greenside bunker on number 11, the short par 3 down the hill, that's very deep below the putting surface. That's pretty much an auto bogey at that point. I know the green on 18, the one where Tom Kim ended up being in that cost you the outright. That one's pretty difficult to get up and down too. So, but that's where a lot of the challenges putting. And this is why I think you kind of see this more bent versus POA. Very easy greens to putt on. These definitely roll a little better than most bent POA greens. Probably not as a whole lot of undulation in the greens either. So you see guys can gain a lot more of an advantage on the greens than other places. And it shows in the stats here. Some of the driving stuff too. You saw this was always one of the more penal places to miss the fairway. It's more, I think, to do with there are some areas where if you do miss a fairway, can incur a penalty stroke. There is water. There are some native areas where you can incur a penalty stroke. You see kind of high penalty rates here. But you saw in 2023, as guys were just blasting driver everywhere, it got a little less severe. At least the changes that it did make, it did restore the missed fairway penalty, but it's kind of like with John Deere, TPC Deere Run, that, it's an easy golf course, but it has a high missed fairway penalty. And it has more to do with the fact of if you basically are in the rough, you kind of take away your ability to get a birdie.
Good birdie, yeah.
But if you're in the fairway, it's a very easy birdie opportunity. It's more to do with that. And you kind of see with the rough penalty too, where it's a relatively high rough penalty. It's just harder to make birdie at that course because you have a short iron from the rough versus a short iron from the fairway. Right. The driving stats, you can see that it got up to about an average drive of 290 in 2023. With the changes that they did make, guys still had to club down a little bit. It went back down to 284, which, for a signature field with the best players in the world, the fact that it went down about 6 yards.
Interesting. Interesting.
Mission accomplished, but you still had 70% green and regulation rates. Guys are still hitting 65% of their fairways. Like, there just really isn't much of a challenge ball striking at this place anymore because guys are so long. And unless you make it like 15-yard wide fairways, it's not really going to matter to these guys.
No, it'll make a difference at all.
No. Like you alluded to, proximity buckets, high concentration of shots under 175, very low concentration of shots over 175. Like the fact that only
look at that.
Only 10% of your shots become between 175 and 200, which usually is like 18 to 20% of your shots in most courses.
Cut in half.
Yeah, cut in half. Same thing with 200, 225. Like, really, your only long approach shots are, the 2 par 5s. That's really about it. And maybe a couple of longer par 4s. Everything else, though, it's contests of who can hit their, short irons pretty well on the week. So, and that's consistent throughout the last couple of years. So, focus on all your proximity strokes gain stats from under 175. As far as comp courses go, probably no surprise. The one comp course in Data Golf is Sedgefield Country Club, Wyndham Championship.
I see all your favorite golf courses up there.
Oh, look at all the TPC.
East Lake, Sedgefield.
East Lake, and although I like the changes that Andrew Green did to East Lake, the problem is I think he made it easier for these guys.
Yeah, exactly.
But TPC Deer Run, I mentioned that. That's a golf course that has a high missed fairway penalty, but it's because you're basically taking birdie, like the opportunity to get birdie out of your hand.
Well, we haven't covered John Deere in 5 years,
so that's something we got to talk about. We were going to cover them this year, but the field is literally atrocious, and maybe we should take a breather that week. But we'll get to that maybe in a couple weeks. But like Sawgrass, Twin Cities, those are golf courses with a high missed fairway penalty. Murphville Village, Innisbrook Concession, like. You start seeing like there's a lot of guys who have a big crossover at a lot of these as far as like it rewards accuracy, short iron play, stuff like that. And if you look at some of the guys who've been pretty good at some of these golf courses, like for example, Scotty Scheffler at a bunch of these. JT Poston would be another one. Brian Harmon, pretty good at a lot of these. So, yeah, I mean, you'd have Keegan, TPC Potomac and Sawgrass and
don't you put Keegan in with those fucking losers. He's one.
Well, I'm just saying, all right, Keegan won here, and
he won Travelers.
Yeah, he won Travelers, and, he finished runner-up at Potomac. He's been good at Sawgrass. He's been good at Murphville Village. He's been good at Innisbrook.
Mushed him at Sawgrass.
Yeah, so, those types of courses. So... this is a good list of, comp courses to use this week.
Yep.
And then as far as the leaderboards go, because you kind of see the same within event correlations the last couple of years. Then I think we're just going to see that going forward because we have a stronger field now. You look at the guys who did really well, like Scotty Scheffler, Tom Kim, Tom Hoagie, Sung Jae. Like those are your guys that definitely are more accuracy finders. Solid short iron players, those types. You still can see bombers do well here. Like JT just bombed it everywhere last year. Wyndham Clark just bombed it everywhere last year. Cam Young just bombed everywhere last year. I actually forgot that Cam Young got a 59 on Saturday at that course. So, but as far as how you separate yourself last year at this tournament, you definitely can separate yourself with a better driving week, but it's mostly because of more fairways you hit versus how far you hit it. There definitely is a little less correlation there. It's harder to separate yourself with approach shots, but that's a function of most guys when you have a lot of short approach shots are really good at it. So it's just hard to separate yourself. Yeah. But if you do miss a green, that's how difficult it is. You can separate yourself a little more with that. And it kind of turns a little bit of a putting contest that day. So those are kind of your attributes you want to look for this week. Guys who, usually tend to find a lot of fairways. You can try and go the bomber route with like DFS if you want to try and get different. I mean, for God's sakes, Bubba Watson's won this 3 times. So it can be done. But for the most part, though, what usually works is guys who just hit a lot of fairways, guys who are pretty good with their short irons, and pretty good putters. That's really about it. Yeah. Yay. So,
yay.
Do you even want to go through the odds board or?
No, we can do that on Tuesday. It's fine.
Okay. We've gone an hour.
Yeah, gone an hour. We're good.
Okay.
We're good. Recap the Open.
Yeah. I mean, I don't really feel like actually looking at the odds board and telling you I'm going to bet Patrick Cantlay again this week.
I will slap you. You will not do that.
Yeah, but you know what? This would be a Patrick Cantlay.
God damn it. No.
Nice, easy, short.
Steve, I swear to fucking God, Steve, I'm telling you, you have to stop. You have
Look, man, Pat covered my car with rose petals. All right. He left a nice note.
Listen, I don't even.
He's in the doghouse, but we're working on
10 times the degenerate you are. And I don't even know what addiction I have that you have to Cantlay. It's fucking insane. It's nuts.
Yeah, but the thing is, though, when he does turn it around, though, that's when you'll appreciate him. You'll know the real Patrick after that.
Jesus. All right.
Yeah. Why don't we end on
Terrible. Terrible. Awful. All right. Yeah, we'll be back on Tuesday night for the best bet show for the Heritage. I guess. How many people we got in this one? Was it 70?
I think so. Yeah, it's signature event, limited field.
Yeah, Saturday. So listen, good thing we had a great U.S. Open. Hope everybody had a great Father's Day. Call your dad if you haven't talked to him yet. And hug your kids. Other than that, we'll see you guys on Tuesday for the Heritage. Bye.